Honda CEO's latest announcement left the automotive industry in disbelief. CEO Toshihiro Mibe just made a bold prediction about the future of his company and revealed a new strategy that enraged many but had all car enthusiasts jumping in their seats. With companies like Tesla, Rivian, and BYD putting in billions of dollars towards their all-electric strategy, Honda is still way behind in the race. Look at the S&P Global Mobility's data and you will see that nearly 30% of current Tesla owners came from Honda and Toyota, followed by 12% from BMW and Mercedes. While Ford is investing heavily into its EV lineup after the success of their F-150 Lightning, Honda still doesn't have anything compelling to offer. According to Tesla's sales reports, the top 5 Model Y competitors are the Lexus RX, Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, Honda Odyssey, and Honda Accord, in that order. As for the Model 3 sedan, the top 5 competitors are the Honda Civic, Honda Accord, Toyota Camry, Toyota RAV4, and Honda CR-V. But despite all this backlash, Honda doesn't seem to be learning from its mistakes. Will we see the downfall of a giant brand? And what exactly did the Honda CEO do that made EV lovers angry? What's the sinister truth about EVs that we know nothing about? Get all the answers you need in these 10 action-packed minutes. We promise we are not going to waste your time. But be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Now, let's dive in. So what exactly did the Honda CEO say? In a time where the world is pivoting towards EVs, Toshihiro Mibe has something else in mind. The 61-year-old automobile veteran is going to defy all industry norms with his new plans. Toshihiro believes that combustion engines are the way to go, at least for the next 2 decades. He said that these engines could easily last through 2040 and beyond, and felt that there's a rush to electrification and that Honda, and mainly he, personally doesn't want to follow it. I've been in the engine development business for over 30 years, so personally it's a little threatening, but I have to separate my own feelings from what is best for the business, said Mibe. This means that while the company isn't fully against EVs, it's also not someplace where their heart lies. It's worth noting that Honda had terrible sales last year, with sales down by nearly 32.9%, whereas Acura, their sister brand, performed even worse, with sales down 35%. A report by Electrek revealed Honda sells nearly 4.5 million vehicles globally per year. Out of that lot, it has sold only 32,649 electric vehicles ever, starting with the Honda EV Plus in 1997. Currently, a huge part of their electrified sales comes from hybrids like the Accord and the CR-V. While other automakers have been introducing their own electric models for years, Honda only has one full electric vehicle on sale outside of the United States, the Honda E hatchback, which is not popular due to its low range. It's true that Honda has partnered with General Motors to introduce 2 new EVs to the US market in 2024, the Honda Prologue and the Acura ZDX. However, this move still leaves Honda behind other automakers who have already introduced a wider range of electric vehicles and charging infrastructure. To make matters worse, Honda's own CEO has even admitted that the company is a little late to the game when it comes to electrification. The charging infrastructure is not at a place that it needs to be for our customers, said Mibe in a recent interview. He then added, as we move toward carbon neutrality, we are focused on electrification and fuel cells. Those are the 2 core components of future mobility. Honda now plans to invest roughly $40 billion by 2030 into its EV lineup to push sales of fully electric vehicles to 40% by the decade's end. This delay in adapting to the shift towards electric vehicles could put Honda at a disadvantage in the long run as the world moves towards a more sustainable future. Honda's CEO stands against EVs. Honda is no small car brand and is definitely one of the global leaders. But isn't it suspicious why such a large brand would be so late to begin investing in their EV plans? We think that Honda's continued reliance on IC engines might be more of a personal decision by Honda's president Toshihiro Mibe, as opposed to a decision that would benefit the business. He went on to say that Honda's performance cars and trucks would likely push on with combustion, which means that the future Type R iterations will likely soldier on with combustion power, albeit likely with hybrid assistance to meet stricter emissions targets. Toshihiro Mibe was previously the R&D boss for Honda and is also trying to team up with manufacturers for an alliance against EV makers. Using his experience to keep partnerships between automakers going, Mibe is now setting up a huge alliance with General Motors. Aside from this, Honda has also strengthened ties with Subaru, Mazda, Volkswagen, and Ford. These brands are also in a similar situation with most of their sales coming from ICE vehicles. Volkswagen has said it's aiming to increase the proportion of unit sales accounted for by purely electric vehicles to at least 70% in Europe and to more than 50% in North America and China by 2030. By the same time, 9 out of 14 Volkswagen models will be purely electric vehicles. Toyota's new CEO has also just revealed his EV strategy, which literally changed their entire plan, something which we talked about in our previous video. Honda will be focusing on making fuel cell vehicles, or FCEVs, for the European market. We will see a total of 10 new Honda-badged EVs within 5 years, the first of which will be the production version of the E-prototype shown at Shanghai. But then, this resistance by Honda begs the question, is there something wrong with EVs that we don't know about? Why EVs are not as good as they seem to be? You see, we are making this shift towards EVs due to 2 reasons. 1, depleting fossil fuels, and 2, the environmental crisis. Mercedes says it will go all electric by 2030, while Volkswagen says it will go all electric by 2026. This means that no new ICE models will be launched and the current models will die a slow death. BMW is the only brand which has not committed to this. The BMW CEO believes that going all electric is a bad idea, and instead, they should let the customers decide whether they want to go with a combustion engine or an EV, not the regulators. But are EVs really emissions-free? That's a big no. There's no such thing as a zero-emissions vehicle, just like there's no such thing as a free lunch. The process of making an electric car is very bad for the environment. To make a 450-kilogram battery, you have to dig up 200,000 kilos of material, 100 to 300 barrels of oil, which will then hold 1 barrel of oil equivalent to energy. Just manufacturing one battery results in 10 to 40 tons of CO2 emissions, and the bigger the battery, the higher the emissions. In contrast, we only use 35% of this when making an ICE car. But despite this, more and more nations are en route to join the EV battle by imposing bans and setting new targets. US President Joe Biden also said that he wants 50% of new cars to be electric by 2030 to compete with China, who currently makes 70% of the total EVs in the world. Honda's hopeless attempt to catch up to Tesla. The Japanese car manufacturer is now investing heavily to play catch-up. These investments include a $3.5 billion joint venture to build batteries with LG Energy Solution in Jefferson, Ohio, starting in 2025. Honda is also developing its own EV architectures, the first of which will arrive in the US in 2026, as confirmed by Mibe. When asked about Honda's strategy alongside the GM for North America, Mibe said, "We feel there's a rush to electrification, particularly after Mr. Biden took office. But it's still going to take some time, so we don't want to focus too much effort into it right now and wear ourselves out. At this point, I don't think we should be doing it alone. We should team with partners like General Motors and then build to a certain volume to ensure business feasibility. That's the strategy we have for the initial period in North America. Once we reach a certain volume, we will consider rolling out Honda original products and not just EV products." Recently, Honda also announced their new electric car brand in collaboration with Sony called Afeela. This is a futuristic car that might set the stage on fire for Honda. This car has no door handles and has 45 sensor arrays and cameras positioned both inside and outside the car to recognize you as you walk towards it and open the door automatically. While details about the new electric vehicle are still scarce, the partnership between Honda and Sony is a clear indication that the future of cars will be shaped not by just automakers, but by companies across industries. Sony's experience in AI, entertainment, virtual reality, and augmented reality might help Honda come up with a vehicle that is ahead of Tesla in terms of tech. So what do you think? Will Honda be able to catch up? We think the $40 billion investment should certainly help, but you can't buy time. On the other hand, the continued production of combustion engines is good news that many auto lovers might be happy about. But now it's your turn. Whose side are you on, EVs or the good old combustion engines? Maybe you're in between. Let us know down in those comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to Charge Drive and smash that like button if you enjoyed this video.